This time I'll call the June 3rd, 2021 meeting to order for the Dickson County Commission. Would you please stand and join in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have two items to add to our agenda today. And so we will be adding to authorize myself to go ahead and sign payroll because the county commission will not be meeting in session next Thursday. And then also the second item is to purchase or consider the purchase of a chassis for our ambulance. And so with those two additions, I would move that we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have the motion and the second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the May 27th meeting, also the fund expenditures of $157,702.25, wire payments, which includes contract services of $6,260, utilities of $8,263.50, also abatements of $25.34.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have the motion and the second to approve the consent agenda. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Commission comments, Ron?
I don't have any comments today.
Okay, Craig?
Last Thursday after the meeting, I did attend the North Central Regional Planning Commission. The discussion mainly was on the American Recovery money, how the counties were going to use it and stuff. No, that's about it. That's about all. I will mention that I did have another citizen contact me about the widening the roads, the paved roads and stuff like that. I did contact him this morning. I'm going to look at it, am I correct, Brad? See if we can get some grants maybe to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did tell him that would be on usage, so it may not be the road he wanted to have widened at this time.
Yeah, we would, the most likely grant we would want to apply for would be the high risk road grant. So, and that obviously is when money's available through KDOT. And they open that up once a year. So we just finished the project with that, as you're aware, on 1400 Avenue, replacing all the signs across the county. And in the past, we'd use it to widen Old 40. And so we would be best served to probably have an engineer take a look at whichever one we decided is the most hazardous, because it's going to be based on past traffic accidents and things of that nature. And that's why Old 40 was so successful, because we've had
Numerous accidents
there over the years. So I don't know that we'll be able to
may not qualify.
justify on any of the other side roads just because of the low volume of traffic. So we'll look at it, see.
Well, and road safety, is important year round, obviously, but just kind of reminder too, as we're entering harvest season isn't too far off. And then I was just thinking, Craig, also you had mentioned, you brought a picture of a horse-drawn carriage, and a vehicle had kind of come up behind it, and it had lights on it and reflection and reflective materials and so on. But, considering the fact that just because it's a paved road and it's in the county and there's not much traffic, we want people to, you basically need to slow down or at least be alert that you don't know what's just over the hill, whether it could be a horse-drawn carriage like we have a few up in the north part of the county, but sometimes people are pulling out from their fields with equipment and so on. And so just encourage people to be alert. What I would have to report is they are having a Military Affairs Council luncheon that I plan to attend next week. It's going to be part of Fort Riley is having special events next week, but this is also in conjunction, a partnership with Manhattan and Junction City and area communities. And so I do plan to attend that luncheon. We also had budgets considerations this morning. We had several groups scheduled, and we have the budget from the Tri-County Fair Board that is being considered. We also had representatives from the Dixon County Economic Development Corporation for their budget presentation, the Conservation District, and they joined us online, and then also online, but also in person, we had the OCCK, and they gave their presentation, and it's, encouraging, but also considering the fact that all of these groups reach out throughout the entire county of Dixon County, and there's needs there, and they're working with us and doing a lot for the county. So that's all I have for comments. We do not have any petitions or proclamations. We do have a public hearing, and I think we'll do that. And then after we have the public hearing, we can have public comments if there are any public comments. But as far as the public hearing, Brad, if you'd just go ahead and kind of give us a summary of what this particular grant is and what it involves. And we also have a representative here with us for comments from North Central Kansas Planning, and that's Bree Beck. So Brad, if you'd go ahead before we open the hearing, give us just some summary remarks.
Okay, as you'll remember, we had applied for a grant last year to help local businesses that were struggling or were having difficult times due to the COVID pandemic. We had applied for one, and the city of Abilene applied for one. We elected to utilize the North Central Regional Planning Commission to manage ours as our fiscal agent. We had several businesses that applied for and received funding from that. The last one was just recently paid. And so we have expended all those funds, and it's time now to close the grant out. So today is a public hearing, which is required as a part of that grant to finalize that program.
Okay, so at this time, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for that grant. And the public hearing is opened. And maybe Brad stole some of your thunder or covered it, but is there additional information you'd want to bring to us or tell us about the grant?
I've pretty much summarized it in full. The county was awarded $132,000 worth of grant funds to reimburse other businesses within the county for expenses due to COVID. We were able to award 7 businesses and retain 28 employees with those grant funds.
You might mention the businesses. I remember a couple of them. Oh, you don't have that?
I do.
Okay.
But
Phyllis's Flowers was one.
Abilene Physical Therapy and Sports, their Chapman branch, the Spot and Dining Car, Chapman Creek RV Park, Flowers by Vicky, Kansas Coffee and Ice Cream, Phyllis's Flowers and More, and then Tavern Boutique and Tanning.
And Brad, correct me if I'm wrong or maybe expand on it, but by separating out and where Abilene had their own grant process, we actually were able to have more of an impact separating the two than trying to keep the two together.
We would have only been eligible for $130,000 per grant. So if we applied with Abilene for one, that would have been the total. So by doing it separately, the 130 was a cap on those particular grants, as I understand it. So by doing it separately, they were able to get 130 and we got 132, whatever it is, and we got 132. So they took care of the businesses that applied within the incorporated city limits, and we took care of the ones outside. And as you heard from what Bree said, we had several in Harrington, several in the Chapman area that were successful. And so we're glad to be able to help those businesses out in a tough time.
Okay. Are there any other comments that anyone would want to make in regards to this public hearing?
I don't have any comments.
Okay, if there's no further comments at this time, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing.
There are documents that need to be signed.
Okay, so I guess the second piece of this is that we would need to go ahead and have a motion to authorize, all of the commission needed, or do I sign it on behalf of the commission?
Clerk.
Okay, so we'd need a motion to give authorization for that signing to officially take care of that grant.
I still move that we close the grant cycle.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second that closes the grant cycle, but also gives authorization to sign on behalf of the commission. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll go ahead and sign that. And you're welcome to stay. We're going to go another 20 some minutes, but also if you need to leave, I understand that too.
Everything that you need to sign is flagged in the teal color.
Okay.
If you want, is that blue?
No, if you want it in blue, I'll use your pen. Thank you.
Since we have to scan the documents, they prefer signatures to be in blue. That way they can tell it's an original signature.
Sure. This gives us
And there are two
our
copies.
seventh inning stretch.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. So now, how long have you been in this position?
I actually just started at the planning commission in September, so you had already gone through the application process and Carol was taking care of it, and then Carol retired, so I inherited all of her CV projects.
So she had it all lined up and well, good. So are you from Beloit originally, or did you move there for this particular job, or?
I'm originally from Cocker City, but
Okay, close by.
yeah, but I do live in Beloit now, so.
Big ball of twine girl.
I was gonna say that.
Everybody was thinking it.
I didn't want that.
Well, didn't some place kind of do a challenge to it or something? So they had to add to the twine a while back, or maybe they just did it to make sure they stayed.
Probably put some nylon twine on it to stay better.
We have a twine-a-thon every year, and it gets wrapped every year. And if you schedule with Linda Clover, you can actually just wrap it at any time when you want to come and visit the ball of twine. And they log it,
Do they have
keep
it,
track of
do they
it.
have it enclosed now?
It's a roof on top of it.
It's just
Just
an,
4-story building with a roof.
yeah,
like a picnic. That's the way it was years ago when I saw it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I was up there and I was talking to the police chief and they just had some vandalism.
Did they really?
I missed over.
Oh,
You needed it tested.
my. It's pretty amazing how something like that, how people are attracted to it in the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, and people know it,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I was reading because Dean Hansen actually included it in their little
Really?
last magazine that they did.
See, there you go.
And there's people from like Japan and England that have come to see
Yeah.
See
the ball of twine.
Need it tested on that one.
It does.
Okay, I can do that for you.
Okay, and do you have the seal?
I do not.
It will need the seal as well.
Well, somebody in the health department sign it?
With Barb?
Well, yeah, it'll have to go down to the courthouse to get the seal because I don't have her seal. If you're gonna go down there, I might just wait and let her sign it.
Okay, I can head down that way.
Yeah.
And I don't think for the last request for payment for administration, I don't think either of you were on the authorized signature list, were you?
That we were what?
To sign for request for payment?
I think we've done it for
It's,
you guys' payment or
yeah, the last administration draw. It has to be done at closeout, so.
I don't remember whether it's been, did you guys send it to us?
I've got it right here, but
Oh, if you want to give
can
it.
you sign for it?
Yeah, oh, sure.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you were,
Yeah, I'm a signature for Janelle and I both are.
okay, so I'll have you.
You want today's date?
Yeah.
Still trying to get over that, so.
Well, these tabs really help.
Especially, you have to sign one for each business that was awarded, so.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering how come we went there.
Thank you very much. And I'll just have to sign it when I go to the county.
Okay.
You know where the Civic Center is?
The what?
The courthouse is now the Civic Center.
Civic Center? Okay.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and Janelle, the other signatory you need is over at the sheriff's department. With our renovation, we're scattered all over. So,
Okay. Well, I will get it.
When you go to the courthouse, when you cross her, before you cross her at Union Pacific Track, it's the first building on the west side,
Okay.
the old depot.
Would it be easier to have Janelle meet her over at the clerk's office?
yeah,
I'm not sure what the parking would be.
I could, let me call
Yeah,
Janelle.
that would be a problem too there.
Could put you to work at the construction site, so.
I actually spend a lot of time at construction sites. I'm learning more about
You've worn a hard hat before, huh?
city infrastructure and all of that than I ever thought I would in this position.
Thank you. And you can put the date on there. I didn't fill
Oh,
those in if that's okay.
no, I can do that.
Okay.
See if I can get her to answer the phone. Let me call the office number.
Did you have her cell number, Brian?
That was the cell number I tried, yeah.
Okay. As soon as we're finished up with a couple of these things here, we'll go ahead and go to public comments. Well, you really get to see a lot of north central Kansas then with your jobs.
I am, which is sad because I've lived in it all my life and writing some grants. I didn't know they did that. I didn't even know that was there. So I'm learning more about our area than I ever thought.
So do you get into Lucas? Have you been there and visited? And when we talk about the Ball of Twine and
No, I haven't.
the
That's,
Garden of Eden and
I've driven by the Garden of Eden. It's
Yeah, Bree was.
the artistry of it is really cool. But
And she also needs.
But-
I always liked this sign around Luray that said you're halfway between the Garden of Eden and Paradise, because Paradise, Kansas is down there.
Oh, oh, that's cool.
Thank you. Bye. She's gonna walk over to the Civic Center, meet you in a few minutes.
All right.
You know, well, so you should be able to get both signatures at one spot, so.
Thank you.
Across the railroad tracks, you've gone too far.
Okay.
Where the railroad tracks, you make a right turn.
On Second Street.
Hopefully Google will not.
First Street is
Right.
the post office. It's a working stoplight and it's a short half block, less than half a block,
Okay.
second. So
All right. Well,
make a right turn
much.
west.
It looks like a railroad depot, so.
That's the giveaway. Yeah, it is a depot. Thank you and nice to meet you and
too.
hope we can work on some other projects.
Yes.
Okay, we've finished our public hearing and appreciate the patience for those of you that are listening in. If you did have public comments at this time, we will receive any public comments that anyone would have in regards to something that's not on the agenda. And same as before, we'd go ahead and need to have you give your name and address. And so we have Megan Armstrong, and if you'd go ahead and.
Good morning. This is Lori Megan Armstrong, 1140 Apple. I did have a question about the American Rescue Plan funding, if there is a platform or a way for people to submit ideas. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, we didn't hear.
Am I in now? There we go. I'll restart my question. All right. My question was, Is there a way for residents to submit ideas or needs for the American Rescue Plan funding? And if there is, how do we do that? And if there isn't, that's cool too. And also, will the projects be posted somewhere for people to see in case they were wondering if certain needs were going to be addressed?
We don't have a time constraint on this like we did before. So I think once kind of the framework of that, we'll just get information out there. And probably internally we'll be assessing some of the needs first, but I think that's something we can take into consideration.
If you have an idea, I'd suggest to email it to me.
Okay.
If somebody wants to make a suggestion, send me an email.
And we probably need to get more information out on it, so people, realize what some of the guidelines are. Because I'm sure there's some things that are going to be outside of what the funding mechanism is intended for, but that's do you think we'll put something on the website eventually, Brad, or newspaper article, or?
Well, we'll be reviewing it at your meeting here, of course, and we can certainly put something on the website, a link to what our current projects are, what you decided will be approved, so.
Well, we certainly don't want to overlook anything, but we will be looking at what the guidelines are specific to that and try to get information out. So thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other comments or questions? Okay, that's all we have for public comments. And so we're going to go on to the next item we have is report of county officers. And so Brad, if you'd go ahead and give your report, please.
Okay, in the work session, you heard from Chuck and I kind of sparked him into making some comments about the Rural Opportunity Zone program. And I won't go into a lot of detail on it, but just to highlight this year, the legislature did make some changes to the statute that covers that program and opened it up for basically the majority of the state. So we are now eligible for participating in the state's Rural Opportunity Zone program. And as you heard Chuck say, we would need to opt into that program if we are interested. I will have a resolution on the 17th to do that. I prepared it and got it in the folder. So, and it's very, very simple to do. We just let them know that we want to participate. We have put a $0 amount into it that the county is willing to put forward. But what it does do is it makes our county and our county employers and anybody else that would want to put any money forward, or anybody that fits the criteria of a college student or a past college graduate that has debt, student loan debt, would be eligible for participating in that reimbursement process if they were to come back to the county and go to work and meet the criteria. So I'll have that resolution at our next meeting to be able to do that. Beginning on the 17th, we do have an updated go-to meetings platform. They've updated the platform we go to, which comes with a new link, and we will be changing the link on our website beginning that meeting. So anybody that visits or comes on virtually will need to go to our website and click on that link. If you have it saved to your desktop, it goes directly to the link we're using now. It will no longer work. So with the upgrade, there'll be a new link, and I would suggest the easiest way is to go to our county website, commission meeting, click on the link, and that'll take you directly to the new one on the 17th. So everything will work virtually the same. It's just an upgrade that we've done when our licensing was due. So I also received, just this morning, a tax abatement application and request from Chuck that he's working on with Agri-Trails Co-op. Agri-Trails Co-op is building, his plans to build about a $7 million fertilizer plant at Hope. Tremendously good addition adjacent to their property. And so they have been working with Tim on the building permit and the conditional use permit for that, as well as Chuck and I went down a week ago, Friday, I guess, because I wasn't here last Friday, and met with Daryl Anderson and talked to him about the program. So we'll be looking at that, and we may very well on the 17th have that available for you to consider as well. So in your package, you have the year-to-date staffing reports from Diane. I would note that that particular, the report this time, it does have names and where the staff falls at on the pay plan. So she has marked it somewhat confidential because it's something we don't necessarily want to have out there. But at Craig's request, she's added those columns to it. And if you have your copy of the pay plan, you can go ahead and look and see where each individual falls on that. So I'll be getting with her this afternoon and telling her about what we talked about in the work session as far as the percentages on to plug into a draft plan for the budget moving forward. So you will also note that in the turnover, we have had several new hires, the majority of them are in the sheriff's department. Jerry has filled several vacant deputy positions that he had. We also filled one dispatcher position that's in training. And then Andrea has filled a paralegal. So had some good additions and filled some vacancies, especially in the sheriff's department that have been open for a long time. They've been unable to fill. So, and then you also have the year-to-date staffing reports year-to-date budget reports. And of course, the budget looks fine. It's early in the year. The one thing I really want to note, I'm tickled to death over, and that takes a lot to get me tickled, believe it or not, is the sales tax. Our sales tax for the month of March was over 135,000, which is considerably higher than not only any other year or any other month this year, but higher than it was last year at this time as well, by about 32,000. So I think that's indicative of the fact that people are getting out, our economy's coming back. As I said in my travels last week, there's a lot of people traveling. The highways are busy all over the northwest, Midwest, and I was really glad to see that. So as far as the budget, everything looks fine. I mentioned in the work session also that we had, Derek and I had met with staff of Hams on our overhead door replacement at the transfer building. We've got a solution to replace that door that was damaged during the fire last year with I think it's going to be a better solution and it's less money. And Hams was going to take care of getting that ordered, getting it in, and then getting it installed. So we'll just we've agreed to pay them half of that cost. And we'll do that once it's all completed. So Janelle, probably the best news of the day is that when Barb received her abstract information from the state earlier this week, she noted that the Keystone Pipeline was included in the abstract as self-reporting $22 million worth of assets for the tax year, which means that they will be paying taxes as we had anticipated and hoped for the last 10 years. I don't know what the actual dollar amount will be at this point. Haven't had time to get with Bruce or anybody from the appraiser's office, but it's good to see that they have reported and they're on the list. So I don't know how that'll affect the revenue neutral new statute that controls what we can do, but we'll find out and know more about that in the next week or two. Then the last thing is, I just wanted to note that today and tomorrow, if you're traveling Old 40 between Abilene and Solomon, Abilene Machine is holding their tractor auction put on by Mecum Auctions. It's also tomorrow will be broadcast on RFD TV, and it should be very interesting, but they will be very crowded out there. So if you're traveling through that area, take caution, slow down, be aware that people will be walking down the highway to get there, parking on the highway, things of that nature. But I would encourage people that go out and watch if you'd like to. They'd like to see people come out. That's all I've got.
There was a conversation earlier that maybe you might get the drone up there or see if
Yeah, I'll see if
Craig had mentioned that.
it's available to run out there tomorrow during the auction. And it'd be kind of neat to get some footage of that to use for some of our videos for county stuff.
Okay. Also, you might mention, we aren't going to be meeting on the, well, I guess that's part, we'll cover that, I guess, when we talk about the payroll, signing, the unsigned the payroll coming up. So Doug does not have anything, or did he report
He
anything?
didn't report anything other than didn't think he'd make it down there because he had court this morning, so.
Okay. Notices and communications, about the only thing I had was on the county news. We had our newspaper that we got. That's a national publication. And that's pretty much all I had. Anybody else have anything they'd want to bring up?
We did get an invitation to the open house for the meet the new director, Austin Andrews. Or maybe you didn't get one.
Okay, I did.
Yeah, I'd probably come in. So if anybody else is coming in,
What was the date on that?
13, 2 to 5, I'll probably be coming
We'll
in.
put it on the website.
Okay. Okay. We'll move on. We did not have any resolutions to consider, so we'll go on to actually the two additions. And the first one was that I would be authorized to sign the payroll. And Brad, do you want to kind of cover what that involves or the reason?
Yeah, next week, I won't be having a meeting. Craig and I will be in Liberal at the KCCA conference and you're tied up, so that only leaves Ron. So, and without a quorum, we won't have a meeting. So next week is a payroll week. So we would need one of you to be authorized to come in and sign the payroll for the week.
And I'll be in town, so it'll be easy to do. And usually Barb just gives me a call to remind me when it's ready, if it's ready the day before or that day. So is there a motion authorized?
I'll second it.
We got the motion and the second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. The second item, Brad, if you'd go ahead and cover that too, and that was the purchase of a chassis.
Yes.
Ambulance.
We actually have, we have in our capital plan, we had one for this year, but we delayed it with the COVID, I'll call it the COVID unit that we bought last year, late last year, ambulance. But we have one the first of next year that will be needing replaced. And as I think most everybody is aware, it's very difficult to get some new vehicles nowadays. They have suspended the production of the Ford F-550 chassis because of the shortage in semiconductors. And so we're not even sure how long it's going to last or if the chassis will be available next year when we need it. And so the salesman for the company we deal with contacted us and said they do have a holdover 2020 Ford F-550 chassis. It's brand new, sitting in a yard. I believe it's in Virginia right now. But it does belong to Osage Ambulance. And they were willing to, if we wanted to commit to that, they would sell that chassis for $55,235. That would be without the liquid spring. So I think that's comparable to what we paid last year for the year before for the 2020. And that way they would hold it at no cost until we're ready to authorize them to get it in the queue to manufacture the ambulance. So we felt like John said it doesn't matter to him whether it's a 2020, 2021, 2022, they're all the same. So we would felt like it was probably a good option to not only get it at that price, because when they do come back online, we're hearing that all vehicles are selling above list price. And so I can't imagine the price isn't going to go up some whenever they do start manufacturing, especially because of the demand that's going to be there. But we would at least have one to get this chassis built next year. So it would be our recommendation. We do have the money in the capital plan. We weren't planning on using until after January for this, but we could use it now, and that way we know we've at least got a vehicle that could be built. So, and it would be purchased the 2020 Ford F-550 from Osage Ambulance for the 55,235.
And kind of based on our conversation earlier too, we would leave it up to kind of discretion of Brad to discuss with Janelle and finance and just see if whether to pay for all of it in advance or spread it out over two years or whatever. But we'll let them crunch the numbers, and if that's agreeable. Is there a motion to authorize the purchase of this chassis?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have the motion and the second for authorization of purchasing the chassis for the next ambulance. Just one clarification or point. What was the amount on that?
55,235.
Okay.
In point of deal, I think that's what we did pay when we bought one in 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's within a couple $100.
Yeah, well, when we bought the last, when we did buy the last one.
So they haven't marked it up any. They typically buy them, and it's in their interest if there's vehicles available to be able to build what they build. So
Okay, we've got the motion and the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. One question before we adjourn. We had talked about, I think it was Big Red Fencing was going to do some work out there come in July, and did they go ahead and buy the fencing so we have it in storage, or is that something you may want to follow up
I'd
on?
have to follow up, Lynn. I don't know. That was the sheriff was taking care of that.
Okay,
And I know that he was going to suggest to Big Red that they go ahead and get the materials on site.
because we could store them out there
We could store
for
them
him.
in, we could pay for the materials and get that done until they are ready to install it. But I will double check with Jerry and see
Okay,
what's transpired on that. So
okay. I'll move, we adjourn.
Second.
Got the motion, the second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned. Enjoy the conference.